across my screen.
Hello, hello.
Looks good.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Today is June 21st, the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. I suppose it's the winter solstice down south. But we are gathered around to do a little live coding around the Plutus PBL live coding session and PlutusPBL.io. We gather weekly to discuss our error messages, which are opaque, or getting set up and moving through the modules. I want to say what's up to James, who's here, and a couple of other folks that are here, like Claudio and Dan, Faizan, Harsha, Sebastian, Martin, Nelson, Rahat. They're all here. We're all here. You're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who has, like we do, we go through and put in questions and error messages, things that we want to work through on this Miro board. Does anyone have anything they want to put in? It looks like the first one's here. Anyone else? Error attempting to commit to module 103. Transaction fails. Looks like there's some interest in that one. And we'll just, we'll set up some time for thinking and getting into the live coding mind frame and putting in sticky notes. And then after a time, we'll vote or sort of come to an agreement on what we want to focus on today and or do a breakout room.
Thanks, Newman. And hey, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, James. I don't know where I left off, to be honest. I was having an issue with Nix. I was following Dan's node reinstallation with some interest because I feel like I need to do that as well. Yeah, I'm curious as to the best way to do it. Although I do think that it's important to like take apart your workshop, you know, take everything out, put it all back in, you know, like just in general when you're working with stuff. Because each time you do it, you learn new stuff. You know, the error, running into errors is does not mean failure. Right? So it gives us opportunity to build it back up and learn more stuff.
Without a doubt. And you have this chance to kind of, it's like rereading a book or rewatching a movie, right? You just notice more things each time through and some details come out. That benefit is always there, even though I'll admit that I fail to acknowledge the value of that frequently enough. I always want to play with the next new shiny thing instead of making sure that I understand everything as well as I ought to sometimes. But even so, the more practical maybe reason to go through things again is just that things are moving so fast right now.
Right.
Tools are being written in real time that things can go out of date. And so just a personal story, when we started writing the documentation for this course between January and March of 2023, I kept getting frustrated that my computer was acting up when it came to Nix, you know, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And it took me a little while to realize, oh, I forget how many versions behind I was, but I was several versions of Nix behind, you know, like more than one or two. And as soon as I just took the 45 minutes to upgrade Nix, I was like, oh, everything just works again. Cool, right? And so that's going to happen with Plutus, which is always in development. It seems like Nix is getting a lot of attention from its development community right now and pushing out new versions, you know, more often than I realized. That was for sure. So it's it's a good reason to kind of go back through, check versions of whether we're talking about Nix or Plutus apps, Cardano Node, but even Node.js, right? Which you might be using on the front end. It's worth it to do a little housekeeping and make sure that you have the most recent versions of all those things. And along the way, that's a nice chance to kind of review what you understand so far.
Right. And Nix and the packages like the starter app repos can be updated. So that would be, yeah, that would be an interesting dashboard. It's just like to know like where you are in your work environment. Seems like that would be like a VS Code extension or you know, like a script. Ooh, is that a bash script where you can just say, hey, am I up to date? And then it runs
can
through.
be. Sure, you could write a bash script that just runs the version command, all of the things that matter to you, and prints them all in one place, right?
Cool, that'd be cool. Okay.
But this also gets at something kind of interesting when it comes to maybe a public dashboard, right? I think it would be a helpful thing to add to PlutusPBL.io. What version of all of our tools we're using. So anybody can look at that, see what's current. Maybe we could even have links out to each of those tools so people can validate that their development environment is up to date.
Ah, yeah. And then just all the tools.
Yeah. I think it might be time to use the matrix a little bit. So this is, you know, the idea is
it could be a summer carnival thing, you know, because that feels kind of like an app or a project to be like built out. Which I, for the sake of the video, the summer and or seasonal carnival, I guess it's a winter carnival in the South. I love that. I love that. I'm like, it's so fun because you know, we're on a blue marble globe. Like a dedicated time in the sort of special time at the top and bottom of the year to like take a break from normal activities and do fun, you know, side quests, you know. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to do. And that feels like a side quest, like a fun, you know, build out a tool that does a you know, that checks versions. And actually, I think it'll be valuable for learners to have all of the, you know, like all of the tools in the toolbox sort of laid out. Like, here's all the things that you're going to need, like making a recipe, you know, and you're like, you're going to need you know, a hand mixer. And if you don't have a hand mixer, then you can use a thing, or you're going to need, you know, these bowls and a spatula and a so-and-so. Yeah. Like Nix or Mesh or Plutus. What are some of the Cardano node? What are the other like dependency tools? Yeah, Node.js is definitely in there. Help me out. Who else is out there? Et cetera, et cetera. There you go. Oh, Cabal and GH. I always think of the 80s band GHB, Great Big Haircuts. Yeah. But all those little bits of dependencies, things that would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Might be, it's interesting because it's kind of basic, you know, like these are it's definitely in that section of the course of the background knowledge, you know. And like you say, James, they are really like working and developing very quickly, which you can see generally on the on their repos, on their public open source repositories. You can see like the action happening. And I imagine in Discord, I know that Nix has a really vibrant, I was searching for some errors on Nix and people were like, oh, you should check out the Discord. They really, like they're really responsive there.
Yeah, Alex has been embedding in that community on and off and brings back great reports.
Oh yeah, that might have been who had helped me out on our Discord, which is really cool.
Yeah, so versioning is going to be really important moving forward, and it's kind of neat to think about, right? Like, so this dashboard with these external dependencies, we've named some of them here. Aiken, I could add to the list. It could go on, and then just the repos we're using in the course, and then the course content itself. All of these are going to have to be updated over time. I'm thinking about what kind of maybe catalyst proposals there are here. I would love to write a proposal that goes straight into a treasury of the kind we're already using in the course and provides people with a little bit of funding to help keep the course up to date. So if anybody's interested in playing with a proposal like that, we can connect on that anytime. I mentioned this concept that this could go straight into a treasury, and it actually does connect back to these commitment transactions. So I get excited when errors on commitment transactions like this emerge, because it gives us an opportunity to go in and learn about how the system works in the first place. And so that's one thing that I could imagine doing today. Oh, future PBL courses, absolutely. I know, like a Marlowe PBL would be a great course to write. There's another potential catalyst proposal.
Marlowe in the next session. Yeah, and Marlowe, for just so that it's like it's another, is it like a Plutus, but it's somehow it's just it's like a financial focused, that's all I know. It's like in the multiple choice sort of thing, it's just like see Marlowe, and then it's just like anything with like finance, that's what might be the right answer.
Well, it's like I always liked asking math students, are all puppies dogs, or are all dogs puppies?
Oh.
And so this is a classification thing. In the emerging analogy, Marlowe is a subset of Plutus, a focused, right? So all Marlowe can be written in Plutus, but it's called a domain-specific language. It's a focused subset of Plutus that allows us to really get to critical financial transactions with less overhead.
Right. Looks like a website called marlowe-finance.io went out of business, or my website.
No. We'll see where that ends up.
Oh, actually, all of my iohkdev.io went out. It's not findable.
Maybe they're launching a huge update. Maybe there's exciting announcements coming. Who knows?
Hey, will Hoskinson be at the launch? He's been at least the last few.
That's a good question too. That'd be nice.
That would be kind of fun.
Yeah. I like this idea of maybe using some carnival time to think about versioning. I think we can drag this one to a possible breakout room, and this could be starting from the error message, seeing why this is happening and how to fix it. But this could also then be a springboard to just going a little bit deeper into the transactions that are actually running under the hood every time you do commit to a module. From the beginning, one of the goals of this course is to create an opportunity at one or more live coding sessions for us to look at how these contracts work. So I don't know, maybe today is a day for that. But before I jump to that conclusion, anything else? What else might people want to look at together during this session?
I tried HydraPay yesterday.
Ooh, okay. How'd it go?
It was very easy, really.
Hey, okay.
Well, the demo is very well. It runs like a Docker image, and you don't get really much to do. It's just working, and you can try the demo, which is kind of interesting. So you create some addresses and then you do a payment, but it's all running standalone.
That's awesome. Yeah, I missed Carnival yesterday and would love to jump into those Hydra demo docs. It's great. Those are two fun things to vote on. And any others to throw into the mix?
Yeah, that's a good voting thing, because that's a toss-up. HydraPay, sort of forward thinking, and then a 103 module transaction fail. I know they'll probably get us to the same spot in a weird way. You know how you never know what's going to actually happen.
Well, I'm glad you said that too. I mean, one of the goals of the transactions that are already running in this course is for y'all to understand them, but then hopefully a bunch of people will say, yeah, but isn't this too expensive to run on mainnet?
Right.
At which
right.
point we'll be able to say, but what if we put it in a Hydra head? Right. So this is, I hope, where we are all going. And I think that the contracts that are already working under the hood of Plutus PBL, I do think it's likely that they're too expensive to put on mainnet in just like an instance of this course. And so it's really going to necessitate and some kind of Hydra implementation.
Oh, okay. Like just the actual running of the course and all of the transactions things, could happen in one of these Hydra heads, which in my mind is like a subnet or some type of something that doesn't require like full network attention at the same time. Something. It's a scalability solution.
Exactly. And you can set your transaction fees within a head. Okay. So just back of the napkin math, let's say people had to commit to, 8 modules to work through a course. And so there's a commitment transaction and a distribution transaction for each of those 8 times. And let's say those transactions are about 0.3 ADA each. Okay. Got about 16 transactions times about 0.3 ADA, call it about 5 ADA per person in transaction overhead to work through a free course. Well, if you now scale that, what if 1,000 people work through a course? Not a problem here yet, but okay, well now so the cost of delivering a free course is somebody has to pay 5,000 ADA.
Right.
Come from, right? So this would be beautiful, right? To think about how these transactions fit inside of a head. Sure, we could start to establish some datum within the Hydra head. We can make decisions accordingly, and then something akin to completing the course, right? Graduation ceremony. You take that datum and you move it from the Hydra head onto mainnet, where you can then use it for whatever purpose.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? We're coming in at the 30 minutes.
Got a quick hand from Dan, and then we can jump to voting.
Yeah, it was just a quick thing about the Hydra heads. I've read a bit about them. I think I kind of understand in that you commit a certain amount, or you commit to a Hydra head. So you place some funds or something into it. You can then go away and play around with it and do lots of transactions between you and all your friends who are all joined onto this head. And then once that's all resolved, you then basically go back to mainnet and go, this is the result.
Right.
Is that somewhere close?
That's exactly it, right? So the first, if you look at the Hydra docs, the very first example is a poker game. Right. It's a perfect example to demonstrate the trivial functionality. Right. Everybody, okay. Everybody, it's 10 ADA to play in this game, and a bunch of betting is going to happen, and every bet is a transaction, and every hand the people win is a transaction. But what's nice about doing in a Hydra head is that those transactions are instantaneous and free. They don't have to be free, but you can make them so when you spin up a head. Right. And obviously at the end of a game, it's not like new money was created or destroyed over the course of the game. It just changed hands, final state, right? So initial state, everybody puts 10 ADA in. Final state, that number of players times 10 is distributed to whoever the winners are by agreed upon rules. Now, where it gets interesting is you don't have to be a full participant in kind of the opening and the closing of the head to make some transactions within it. And that's the part I understand the possibility, but how exactly is the next thing I want to try to learn and really play. Okay, so yeah, Alice and Bob can spin up a head, but what about Carl? How does Carl get to play with it? Okay, I want to see that.
Nice. Alice, Bob, and Carl are the traditional names for A, B, and C wallets and people when they would do example.
I know. Is it Carl? Who
Charles? Charles, Alice, Bob, and Charles. Carl, depending on which country you reside in. Carlos, Charlie, yeah.
All right, let's do a quick vote on these two options. Everybody gets 1 minute and one choice. And if you don't have Miro open, you can just drop the number 1 or 2 in the Zoom chat. But if you do have it open, please drop in and choose one of these two options.
And no electioneering during the minute. This is like the polls are closed or whatever, or polls are open. You can't promote your topic.
I want to learn about Hydra heads, but I need to get this error fixed before.
Oh no.
Sorry, was that it? Too much electioneering?
That was electioneering. Oh man.
I want to do both.
Oh yeah, that's a hard decision. It's a hard decision.
Yeah, but I am stuck on this error, so.
I can't vote for some reason.
Oh, drop it in the chat. We got you.
Oh.
Let's see.
Oh,
Hydra head. What's the chat? Wait a minute. What's in the chat?
Nothing yet.
These are the mail-in votes. There are no mail-in votes. Okay.
Now my choice is obvious. Also room 2.
Excellent.
Okay,
This
cool.
is fun. So yeah, we've got some troubleshooting to do with transactions. Let's keep this one. Maybe it comes up tomorrow. And I'll open a breakout room as well for that right now, just in case anybody wants to go take a look at that. But for our main event today, let's check out Hydra Pay. Martin, can we count on you to demo that?
Yeah, I was trying it, but
awesome.
I think I have to start over, but
It's thrilling. I would love to see.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that would be cool. If you had are you going to start over and like try to install it and try to run through the stuff? That would be great. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. I think I have to, but I'm not sure.
And this would be great, like social content. There's probably not a video walkthrough with a bunch of students like peppering with questions about it. So this would be good user testing for the HydroPay crew, Obsidian Systems.
I agree.
Wait a second. I will make my screen a little smaller first. Which one? Otherwise, it's all a little bit small, I think.
I'm posting up to Twitter right now.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, looks good.
So I tried this one, which is like HydroPay. It is not Hydra, like the without it is Hydra, but it's something on top of Hydra, really. You have Hydra. No.
Hydra Head protocol.
Like this is the input output HK Hydra. This is the Hydra, and this is something. Obsidian is something on top of it. HydroPay.
HydroPay.
It does the, as far as I can see, it does all the hard work of opening heads and creating addresses and stuff like that. So that made it a little bit easier, and I tried it with Docker. Only I just ran the command before before suggesting it, and then it gave me an error. So it is like already running, but I'm not sure how it's running at the moment. It's not starting.
So you put in this Docker pull of Obsidian / HydroPay :latest on README. Okay, and then did a Hydra or a Docker run p flag -p with the
yeah. I did those commands. Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's the only thing you need to do, really. So
it says HydroPay will generate an API key which can be read out with. And then there's a Docker command to use a custom configuration, mount a copy of the config directory from this repository to HydroPay config. Okay.
Oh, all these, what? No Docker stuff. What? Where? It's been a while for Docker for me. So maybe this is not.
Oh no, so this is actually a really good sort of like, I love getting stuck because we can get unstuck.
Yeah.
Can you test that your Docker is running? Could you do like, basically it's just troubleshooting. It's just like, which one of these things is broken? Is Docker itself broken? Some way that you can verify that Docker is going?
Yeah, I was trying to remember the commands from a couple of months ago, which are like you need to to know to debug your issues. So this is the images I downloaded, if you can see it.
Oh, okay. And
it's here. This is the HydroPay.
Okay.
This is the latest. But I just did a Docker Docker PS should show you what is running at the moment.
And then that basically tells me there's nothing running at the moment.
Yeah, and still it's giving me an error. It's already in use by the container. Container name is already in use.
Oh, where's that? Where's that? Is that
Name.
up? Ah.
Maybe. Let's try to run it without this.
Can you, I think you can run Docker start if it's already running.
Docker start. But
And then
which
try the name of the repository, or try the image ID. Try Docker start.
usually
image.
it's the image ID, right?
Yeah,
But does it know the port?
let's see.
No such container. Build to start. See, the container is not, the image is there, but it's not.
And then if you just do Docker run and that image ID, what happens? Oh, that says by name, I see.
Oh, doing something.
This is making me feel good because it's
Listening on port 8000.
Okay.
There we go.
Hey,
so wait a minute, what happened? What did we do? We took out
I took out the thing he was complaining about.
the name.
I didn't use my brain a lot for it, but it's a guess, wild guess, and it worked.
Because we just took out the name. What do you call the dashes? Command or parameter?
Yeah.
Name parameter.
So probably it's creating something which is already created, and then you can leave it out. But whatever.
Okay, cool. All right.
So it's running already. Your heads are running now. That's cool, huh?
So now, like following along on that README, do we go to like a Nix build?
No, it's much simpler than that. It's all running in the background. Do you know what a what is that? Jupyter notebook is?
Yeah, slightly. So the multiple choice answer for Jupyter Notebook would be like a code, like a little container where code can run, kind of in sections, and then you can string them together, and they can have code or text or images, but they're kind of like little discrete containers where code can run. That's
so this web page is actually also running the commands to your server.
Are you on a?
So it's actually,
Are you in a browser? What is this that you're? Where's your environment here?
This is local. It was going to localhost, listening on. So it's starting a server on my local host.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
I gotcha. Yeah. Now I'm good.
That's for me. It's obvious, but maybe
I didn't see it. Yeah. I just didn't see. I was zoomed in to look at that's now. I got you now. So you're in a browser on localhost, and it's showing you all this stuff that's part of that. It's a front end of somewhere.
This is a front end for the Hydra Pay, really. So then the thing you need to do is, why is this in the way? Can you move it? Oh, you can move it. Oh, you can move it to the other screen. That's great. Sorry, the control panel for Zoom is on the top and it's in the way of everything.
Right.
So you need your API key, which you can get this way. Paste.
Okay, so
container not running. Oh, weird.
Okay, so now it's saying that it's not go. That's because yeah. HydraPay is in there. So maybe take that out. And where did you get that command? I'm sorry, I'm asking a lot.
It's running now, but it doesn't have the name really.
Yeah.
So maybe you can do it with this one. Well, this was the Obsidian README, and I'm doing the Docker, and this is the next command we need to run.
You have
Yeah.
your name. Yeah, your name is just different than Hydra-Pay. It's Obsidian sys / right.
Yeah,
And you should be able to use either the container ID or the image
I
name.
think I do that. Yeah, I copied the container ID, and then boom.
Oh,
This is my API key. We'll assume that's necessary. And yeah, I'm building now, like this is probably a HTTP post message or something. And you can try it. And it will say the authorization result is true. Now that's great. So we're having the good access now. And you can say, well, now we're talking to the Hydra head, really, the Hydra server. And that is also working. So if I say hello world, it will reply with a message. And here, this is like a DevNet. It's not connected to any preview network or pre-prod network, but you can do it. That's probably the next step if you want to use it. I'm not really sure how it's all connected yet together, but
so this one's not running in like a big public net like mainnet or pre-prod.
Not connected to nothing. It's connected only on your computer.
Okay.
But this is demonstrating this concept that I've been wondering about and mentioned earlier. And again, I'm learning about this for the first time right now. But right, we know we want people who are not necessarily the ones running the head to be able to interact with it in a meaningful way. And that's what this demo is showing us, right? Okay, you can get an API key to interact with a head. You can show those interactions in a web-based application. And somehow we're going to be able to now extend beyond that and actually have worthwhile functionality for the people not running the head.
Interesting.
So it's cool what this really shows you, and that's what I like. Instead of reading, just doing, you can do and see, oh, this is what it can do. But of course, you're now like an administrator because you have the API key, and then you can make addresses. Like here, I just put in the number, and you get DevNet addresses. You get 3 addresses here. Okay, so this has not yet created a head, apparently. That's what we need the addresses for, of course, because you need to participate with people in that. So maybe, so these are DevNet addresses. So if you're on preview, you can already have addresses, probably. It's my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting a new, we have these addresses. We know we want to, these guys are participating. Bob, Alice, and what was it, Jim?
Yeah, no. A, B, and C, Alice, Bob, and Carlos.
Oh, Carlos, very international. Try request. So here we go. It's creating a head now. Wow. And we're done.
Oh,
You see, it is now pending. The network is running and we're not subscribed. But you can see now the participants in the head. I changed the name, so we're going to subscribe to stage changes. But why is not apparently obvious to me, but yeah, the demo is so simple, so you just have to follow every step, I guess. But I think it's just really nice to be seeing how it really works in practice. So
oh,
And look at this message, right? A user-friendly wallet or application is not going to require on somebody to refresh the page, but it's going to update. That's what we expect of our web-based applications these days, right?
Yeah.
Is data that updates without us needing to press any buttons.
yeah. So probably it's sending you like information about changes without you having to pull it. So that's my understanding of subscribing to something.
Right.
Yeah. So the next step I didn't know about is you need funds and you need fuel. But okay, we're gonna do that.
okay. So head subscribe to channel now, funding, proxy, funds, and fuel. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna try the request and submit the transaction and also request the same amount of fuel. Oh, we're not even initialized. So we have to do that probably for everybody.
Initialized, huh?
I'm going to request fuel and funds for every of these guys.
Okay. Transaction. Is anything changing up here? No.
It's not because we're not initialized yet.
Once you have fuel and funds for all our participants, is to initiate the head. This creates an L1 transaction using fuel given to a proxy address that places the initial head state on chain. Okay, so this is where, hey Harsha, did you get to that part with the, Harsha and I are taking the course from, it's a Cardano sort of basic blockchain course. And I think they talked about this as far as like, doing something outside of the chain and then going on chain. So that's basically what's going now, I think.
So, yeah, you see, there's still nothing here. That's because we have initialized the head, but we still have to commit everybody to it. So there's a couple of steps which you could. This is all automated later, of course, if you really want to run it.
Yeah, right. Just you do it all in the back end, not on an interface like this, of course. Yeah.
This is all pretty manual, but it's good for educational purposes. Everybody is going. You see, there's something happening there as well.
Once a head is open, all participants have committed.
This is what happens if you commit. Everybody is committed now.
Ah,
Awesome.
So what I think, I didn't try that. Can you commit to a head after somebody else did a transaction? So there's maybe you can make another address and add it later. I'm not sure if that's possible, really.
hmm.
Let's send some funds from Alice to Bob.
Nice.
Try. Boom, done. It's instant, right?
No mempool.
0.
Ah.
Well, maybe there's a mempool, but for 3 people.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's nothing to it, really. I'm going to try to add another one now. See if I get it. Now everything's working, so we have to try to make it fail, of course.
Break it. Yes, that's the hacker mentality.
See what are the limits. Copy. So head creation. Here the participants are at the head creation. Probably it's not gonna like this. Can you? No. Oh, this address needs fuel. This. Oh, need to.
Interesting.
Not a participant. Server error. Okay. So you have to be a participant here on the initialization or the head creation. That's your issue.
Right. So is it impossible to utilize a head in any way that I'm not a participant in?
Well, there's one way. You can create 1,000 addresses in advance, and then you can maybe sell it or give somebody the password for the address later, something like that.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how these addresses are derived from what, or
They're just testnet addresses, right? Let's just so we can demo it. One thing that jumps out to me, I mean, it was quick to set this thing up, right? And obviously that requires a pre-built Docker image and all that. So there's, on the one hand, there's pre-work we have to do, but once it's done, spinning up a Hydra head can happen quickly. And so I wonder if I'm thinking about it the wrong way. I've been thinking about, okay, well, let's just go back to this PBL example for a second, right? Like, okay, the administrators of a, wait, say it again.
you just close it and then reopen it with
Well, so that's what I'm getting at. So, right, like my mental model that I brought to this is, okay, you might have the administrators or teachers of a course create a Hydra head for that course and then create a way for participants to participate. Okay, fine. But I think maybe I have to update my mental model to say, no, rather every time a student enrolls in a course and mints a contributor token, a Hydra head is spun up to track that individual student's achievements. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm playing and trying to understand this for the very first time.
Yeah, there's
But
a lot
that's
of
what this has me wondering.
how heavy-handed is a Hydra head, and how many participants you could. I've been thinking about payments because I'm working on that stuff to make payments quick. I'm thinking about if there's a middleman, like in this case, it's maybe Gimbal Labs. Yeah, you could have just like only one-to-one, you know, what you just said, every participant has a Hydra head, but you could also do close the Hydra if there's like transactions between a lot of people. Maybe if people jump in, you just close the head and then open it again. Depends on, but that costs some money, maybe. Depends on if that costs you, if you need to commit, you probably need to commit it to the chain, so that will cost you, but maybe it's worth it.
That's right.
If you have like a queue of people waiting to enter, and you do that every 30 minutes, or depending on if you have a course, maybe it's only once every month. You just say, well, you can commit to this course, and then once we close and open the Hydra head again, you're in. I mean, you could just add a queue to go into the Hydra head, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, like it's over, and this would sort of, I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, pardon me if I'm, but it feels like it's ready-made for a cohort model. It's just like you got in the Hydra head or you didn't.
Yeah, which is kind of cool because then it's, oh, I didn't make it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a feature bug kind of thing, you know?
I think you need to, if you make a web page for it, you need to add make like a queue or something. People are like, I want to participate, and then they add themselves in the queue, and then later, once the course starts, you just open the head and everybody goes in.
Right, which could be done in the traditional Web2 way, you know, just a database somewhere.
And so individual participants cannot make transactions between themselves, right? There always has to be like a trusted third party in the process, is it?
No, I don't think so. I think this is really like where you make the transaction. I think this is user initiated, but I could be wrong. Once the head is open, all participants have committed. You are free to move funds around. I don't think the administrator has the capability to move funds around. It would be a little tricky.
Around within the head by creating transactions, you will get balance changed payloads. If you're subscribed to the head, we are using this payload in the live demonstration to live update the balance of all participations. Yeah, so it doesn't really say, you know, the need for a third. It's just you like who is you are free to move funds. Is that like
Who is doing this transaction, and where do you enter your seed phrase?
yeah, right.
What's happening here? Is the administrator just moving funds around, which could be tricky?
Look, I just put a link in the chat that's related to this question of custody and performance, really.
Inner wallet payments, a semi-custodial P2P payment service through wallet providers.
I'm having trouble opening the chat. Can you? Here it all works. Okay, cool. This thing is weird.
I have trouble with Zoom chat on Ubuntu every time.
Yeah, if I could drag the control panel to the different screen so it's not in the way, but then the more drop down doesn't work.
I think this is speaking to this idea of what Harsh is bringing up, like in this scenario, imagine a Hydra head formed by a few major light wallet providers of the network who all have a common interest in providing their users with cheap and fast inter-wallet payments. Therefore, each wallet provider is a head member and processes transactions inside of the head on behalf of their users. So Harsha, is that sort of getting to what you're talking about?
So I kind of like was reading through this and like totally missed what you were saying.
Yeah. Where are you finding anything? Like, what are you, or continue to read and let us know.
All of these use cases, one thing that jumps out off the page at me is that we already know that any decentralized application is likely to include multiple smart contracts, right? It's not, it's unlikely that you're going to build one contract that is the basis of an entire application. It's more likely that an application will consist of several smart contracts all working together. And this documentation here is a reminder that to open a Hydra head is just to interact with one contract, and that there can be other contracts that are also written to work in collaboration with that Hydra head contract to achieve the solutions we really want, right? In the interwallet example, okay, you're going to lock some tokens over here in this other contract we built, which is going to give you access to this Hydra head. And here's the rules about how those two contracts interoperate with each other.
So you can run contracts in Hydra heads. Or
yes, and that's not even what I'm talking about. So 100% yes, Plutus validation works inside of Hydra heads. And separate from that, it's likely that an application that actually generates real utility is likely to have contracts running outside the Hydra head on layer 1 that are working in conjunction with the Hydra head itself.
Oh,
smart contracts running Hydra heads. Yeah. It's like you have a big toolbox, but what you gonna build with it?
Well, right.
All fits together, but
well, it's interesting. What do we build with it? The game, like, and I see that like on what's on the screen now, on this Hydra.family, the overview, and then they've got a like poker game and a pay-per-use API and an auction, so that like for instance in the poker game, like everybody antes in, it's already kind of got the same thing. Everybody establishes a thing. They play. you know, and then at the end of the night or at the end of the game, you know, they you know, cash out, or, you know, they basically cash in their chips. Yeah. So that sort of metaphor, but then also with the auction, like people go to the auction house, they buy in and get, I mean, I'm just thinking like how metaphorically it might work. But that makes sense that you lock funds to enter the Hydra head, and then at the end of it, you depending on how things work out, whether you bought something in the auction or you won in the poker game, then it would reconcile at the end, but it would update in live in real time in these what do they call it, virtual or provisional or the effective balance. Yeah, that actually is pretty cool. In our case with a school, like if the cohort is a Hydra head, and then we all sort of come in and we lock some UTXO, maybe not, doesn't necessarily have to have financial assets, but some datum. And that datum gets, you know, as we move through the course, it gets written to and etc. And then at the end, like graduation, you know, it's kind of like, what's the beginning of it? Is convocation, and then a graduation. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. I know a little bit more about Hydra heads than I did an hour ago.
Kind of cool, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Transferring balances, yeah. It maps well to a poker game. Yeah, but how you map it to, like, I'm still trying to figure out how you would map it well with, like, payments with vendors. Like, how do all the vendors participate in the Hydra head, and how do all customers participate? How do you make
how do you
sure
get them?
everybody is in the head at the, if you have a non-standard starting time?
Yeah,
That's a kind of an issue where
they're kind of like opening and closing business hours. It's like, oh, it's not open. We open every 15 minutes. We stay open and we close. We do business. Yeah, that is interesting.
that could
If
maybe
you can't, yeah.
you close at night and open the following morning or something. I don't know.
Yeah, where's the metaphor? How does it work, and how does it break down? Yeah.
Like if you do like time zones, you could have a head every time zone and open it at night and close it at night.
Right.
Everybody could get in the queue.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, a fundamental question is like, how do people get in and out of the Hydra head? And does it have to be like established at the creation or initiation of the head?
It seems that it has to, yeah.
From this example, it seems that way for sure.
I'm not so sure if I'm as who is initiate from the document I read, like inter-wallet payments. It's like the Hydra head is really the one moving the payments. So that would, if it's the Hydra head is very large, or it's an organization, it leads to centralization, and somebody could just close it and then run away with the funds, really. If the administrator or the AP key holder is the end, looks like the API key is the one who rules all the funds, really.
Right. Like, what is the security? That's what is the security of
So
this head?
basically, if you enter a head with with these values, it's your you're basically giving up custody, I think.
Right, right.
So that's so this cannot never be very big. This cannot be thousands. I think nobody would do that, right? Unless there is an accountant or a notary involved.
Right. And then we get maybe back down to harshest thing of like a third, like some type of leader or administrator of the head that needs to be trusted, because they're the ones with the API key and can start and stop it.
Yeah.
But that may be completely, I don't know if that doesn't sound right, but maybe.
So there's a level of trust here. Yeah.
This needs to be just a pattern that everybody understands, and I guarantee there will be people who misrepresent what a Hydra head is, and they make a lot of money taking advantage of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a business opportunity right now, for anybody who doesn't value honesty.
How would you do that again, James?
You want the whole playbook? I'll have to charge you for it.
Already.
But this concept, right? Like, Hydra heads are supposed to work at a scale where blockchain might be unnecessary.
Yeah.
Right. So I will consider myself successful as a father if I never need to use a blockchain to maintain my children's trust.
Uh-huh.
It's one thing to need a blockchain to establish trust with a stranger on the other side of the world.
Right.
At certain scales, I intend never to need this technology. And I think we all do, right?
Right.
A Hydra head is, in the most naive sense, built to operate at that level where we don't actually need the main chain.
Yeah.
Right? And if I can't trust somebody to act with integrity, well, that's what layer one is for. Stay on layer one, stay on mainnet. What are you paying for? You're paying for the ability to be operating out there in the wide open.
Yeah.
But if trust is established, then we can have some of the benefits of working on this blockchain without paying for all the transaction costs of not trusting each other.
Yeah. So this value, 100 ADA in this case, is related to how much trust you put in the head creator, really.
That's right. Okay, I trust these people enough to put this much in to my collaboration with them.
Yeah, say
Right.
you would be, I don't know, buying cars or something. You would want the head creator to be a notary, like somebody who has also a contract, and then somebody you know. But maybe for a poker game online, and you say, oh, 100 ADA, everybody's playing it and it's good, has good reviews on Google, then you could just do it, and maybe you lose your money, but you know.
Right.
Interesting. And this is one of those examples of something that's like coming online and getting, really worked on as we speak. Like, this is a brand new cutting at the edge of, not on mainnet at the moment. That's correct?
It is on mainnet.
Yeah.
It's usable. Yeah. And there's even reference UTXOs with the contracts necessary to make it work. But what version, Martin, in the official repo, what version of Hydra are we on right now? I don't think we're at version 1 yet. Yeah, that one.
How do you tags, probably.
Usually it's on the right-hand side. Oh, here we go, 0.10.0.
They missed the opportunity to go from 0.9 to 1, but they didn't do it.
Not ready yet, see?
What? That's
Early-
silly. That's just silly.
early.
Somebody did not. What in the world?
It's
Somebody-
not ready yet.
They went backwards. What are we doing? Oh my God.
Somebody was
That's
waiting here and it's like, oh,
hilarious.
bastards.
That is making math people like head spin. What in the world? But I guess
Those are not decimal points.
those are not decimal points. Those are not decimal points. That's right. That's right.
But this is like a big release because it can be the first release that's on mainnet. But I didn't jump into the code yet because I couldn't really get it to run in Nix. Some problems I didn't get. So yeah, of course, the cool thing about something that's running is that you can, rip it apart and see what is inside and what makes it not work. So yeah, I think that's nice about Docker. Maybe we could check out the Docker. Always has a Docker image, right? Should be here.
Is there one here? Oh, I see. They're pushing.
Front end.
To come back to the Docker point, right? Well, Docker is one layer of abstraction on top of a lot of the work we've already been doing. Okay, so it takes care of, say, the Nix part for us. But also in the example we just saw, it can run a few things at once, right? So that Hydra Pay Docker example had a few services running inside. One doing everything needed to make the Hydra head run, but two also exposing a front end that we could look at localhost 8000 in our web browser. And so in the very same way, if you know how React projects work and NPM or Yarn, you can include that in a Docker container. You could also include some Plutus scripts, right? And basically a streamlined ability to compile them in a Docker container. And I'm oversimplifying a little bit here, but that's the idea, right? You're combining it into all one clean object called a Docker container and maybe doing several things at once. So I think the Hydra docs, the raw Hydra docs expect us to actually run the thing outside of the Docker like this.
I was hoping there would be more information here, but
You're right. I know.
If you go to your IDE and you go to the Docker, there's like a something .docker or something, isn't there? And that's the more, like, it'll tell us some interesting.
there is a way, of course, to get your recipe.
Yeah, the recipe. Yeah.
Recipe from the image, right? I'm not sure.
Get Docker recipe from image.
How to generate. Is it possible?
Is there a source repo for this Docker container? If you go to like that Hydra payments.
I think that's what this is.
I was
Like on
hoping,
Docker Hub, yeah.
I
Oh,
was
this is
hoping it would be here.
It's going to be the YAML. Is there a file with a YAML extension? Config, maybe?
Well, that Docker push
Nice.
bash script is interesting. Let's check that out. What's in there?
I don't see a search.
No,
Why
it's,
a search?
you see the config file?
The folder there? Yeah.
Sorry.
Uh,
Oh, man.
Nope,
No,
wait a
not
second.
helpful.
I can do, of course, local search.
just download it and try to get it locally, and then
Do I already have course, I have some. Oh, no. Should work.
Okay, so you're in the Hydra folder, git clone with that address. It's cloning down. It's pretty small, so there it is. And then, okay, this is in your folder or your
And now,
Explorer. Uh-oh. Oh, you're doing a search now.
yeah.
So well, let's see what's in that. See what's in that bash script, the .sh file, just for
do that.
kicks.
Oh, that's not a lot. Docker load, next build, release, Docker image. Right.
Mm. Oh, and that's the look. It's hard coded. That name is hard coded in there. Well, wait a minute. That doesn't. That might not.
Here it's creating the Docker image, probably. With the release.next file. Wow, they do some very automatic trickery here.
Yeah. So this is the Nix file.
Image.
Yeah.
Build image. Nicker. This is also cool. They have some very cool stuff in here.
Built into
Like
Nix.
Nix package Docker tools, build image tool.
Okay.
They're building it here. Run as root.
What?
Yeah, it's not a lot you can gain from this, I think.
Oh man.
Well, this felt worthwhile to me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You have topped off my brain with. That's great. That is great.
So one of the critical questions that we asked a few minutes ago, though, was, okay, well, what are we going to build with it? Right.
Yeah.
And so what I'm really hoping is that, okay, now that we see, okay, this technology is coming online, but we really want to maintain a project-based or even a problem-based orientation towards what we're building. Sometimes we're going to have to look at a tool for its own sake because the tool is brand new, but we want to, as quickly as possible, only be using the tool if it actually helps us with something that we wanted to be working on.
Right.
And so the intention here is to take the system working underneath the Plutus PBL course and see where Hydra might actually solve problems. And so I would be really excited maybe tomorrow to go back to Dan's question about the commitment transaction and maybe take a chance to look at how those contracts work a little bit, because I think we can create a compelling answer to the question, why Hydra, by just seeing how this handful of contracts is already working under the hood of the course. So think about that we don't have to commit to that now, but when we show up tomorrow, that's a nice option to have on the table. A, to troubleshoot a commitment transaction. B, to go deeper than we have before into how those contracts and transactions work.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
It's pretty amazing that it works so easily, huh?
This is why we're working hard right now, right? This stuff does work. We just need to understand how to use it, and we need to build real solutions to problems with it. But I think we're on our way.
I think you're right.
So with that, we're closing the head.
It was a really nice run.
And we're lucky that it worked. Otherwise, yeah.
Bravely doing a live demo. Martin, thanks for setting that example.
Yeah, that was great. That was really great.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. Let's get this working everywhere.
Awesome. Well, we've got this recording archived, and I think this is going to be a fun one to revisit a year from now. Just, back to that theme of redoing things and finding out what we've learned along the way. It'll be fun to see how far we've come by looking at where we were today on June 21st and where we might go. Anybody watching this recording, we meet every Wednesday and Thursday. We'll quiet down a little bit throughout the summer here and there. But yeah, join us Wednesdays, Thursdays, PlutusPBL.io. There's a live coding calendar with links to this meeting. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.